We were given a grandfather clock, an unfinished wooden grandfather clock covered in matchsticks, and it was going to be thrown out, so they said we can do anything we like with it. So it's a big size, about 5 feet long. We thought, great, we've got to make that into a spaceship. So me and the kids spent a few hours gluing bits and pieces onto it to make it into the kind of great big spaceship model that were always made for those films. More or less things like Silent Running, the Douglas Trumbull sort of spaceships with all little tank kit parts stuck on, and then of course Star Wars Star Destroyers and many other great big ships later on.
That's awesome. Yeah, you can do
Straight away Harry came up with a little spaceship, space shuttle, and we used packaging and all sorts of bits and pieces of junk.
I don't think it needs any paint. I think it looks great. It just needs a little figure.
I really like the way he did that.
A pilot. Maybe.
It wasn't difficult. Started throwing pieces on. Lucy had lots of good ideas as well. Containers. We decided at the back to put some obviously engines, jet engines like the type you see it on the Star Destroyers. So the old pop noodle containers came in very handy. Just stuck them into a box and glued them in. Started to take shape as we glued various objects on there. Parts from electrical devices, packaging from chocolate biscuits and snack packages. These particular shapes were from tablet dispensers. All sorts of things started to get glued on, and then the intention was to perhaps spray it light grey or silver, maybe even white. As the hours went by, of course, it got more and more covered with pieces. We had a little UFO there. We used yogurt pots as well, shower curtain, shower coils. Mostly glued on. We had a staple gun as well, and some pieces which were heavy we wired them on by poking a hole through the wood and then wiring it through the holes onto the piece. I think the kids enjoyed doing this because it's not often you get an opportunity to work on something this big. So without going into too much of a fine detail, we came up with something that looked quite nice. This is the final stage before we colorized it. So once that was all ready, we decided to put the model onto the floor with lots of newspaper and some mats that didn't really match anymore. We put them all down, ready for spraying. And we took turns spraying it, and it started to look like something. We were really pleased. It kind of looked like the sort of spaceships that were in those films, and especially the TV shows of the 70s, and it felt like the work that those guys were doing back then, before all the CGI stuff, making big models of this type. It was a good fun project. And I suppose it showed that without too much effort you can create something good, and with more time and effort, who knows, make something really cool. Anyway, glad to have turned that old grandfather clock into something fun and useful, rather than just throwing it away.